All right, so Brian, let me tell you how I met Brian, okay? So, the first time that I think I ever made contact with him was through this guy named Troy, who was sort of the neighborhood, sort of like fugitive delinquent. Like he'd been to jail a couple times. He was the first guy to have sideburns, and he was vaguely Hispanic. And we had gone over to one of his friends' house. This is me and my friend Logan with Brian to this guy's house named Tyler. I'll say his name Tyler. I don't give any last names. But Tyler's business as a kid, and this kid was like 14, 15. He had a business. From what I could tell, I didn't know him that well, but him and a bunch of his friends would go around stealing bikes, sanding off the serial numbers, and then repurposing them and sending them back. But anyhow, we were in this guy's backyard. He had 2 pairs of boxing gloves, and he was asking who wanted a box. I didn't want a box. Logan, I think, did, because Logan to this day is still involved in the martial arts to some degree. So I believe Logan may have fought, but I don't remember what happened. He may have fought Troy or Brian or whoever. But the main event was Troy versus this guy who they were referring to as Lump Lump. And I asked him, like, what does Lump Lump mean, Troy? And Troy told me that he heard word from a girl that he knew that Brian had showed him his dick one day, and there were 2 large lumps on it. So they called him Lump Lump. And that was good enough for me. So that from that day forward, we always fucked with him. We called him Lump Lump. But Brian boxed Troy and got the dog shit kicked out of him the first day that I saw him. Just the absolute dog shit kicked out of him. But the first time that I started hanging out with him, I think the only reason why I was able to hang out with him was due to the fact that he was on house arrest for the entire time that I knew him. But he smoked just as much weed as us. But Scott, you ever heard of these things that's called niacin?
Mm-hmm.
Fat burn?
Make you all red and try to take
Yep. It makes you hot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Hot, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what? And I don't know what the science is behind this, or even if it's true. The only reason why I bring it up now is because he was able to evade going back to Juvie. They call it ACJC, this place down the road. By taking this stuff, and I know for a fact that he was smoking weed because I smoked weed with him, but he never got, for as long as, maybe he dropped dirty a few times, but I remember him going back. But I met him because my buddy Jared, who's sort of like an athletic kid, he would ride me around on his back pegs, and he said, let's go over to Brian's house one day. And from that point, he was smoking spice at the time because he was afraid of smoking weed. Eventually we got him to weed. I guess I played a role in that. But yeah, man, his house was the spot. That's one story. There's a lot more stories that are coming to mind, but I think that's pretty tight and brief, wouldn't you say, Scott? You think that's a good spot to stop?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. That's what you gotta say at the end of your video. So you're speaking to a fucking audience. I'm gonna take this seriously, man. You know, it's fun. It's fun doing this stuff. All right. How do I?